There's a moment you know too well. You see her. She's standing near the coffee counter. Or at the bar. Or laughing with her friends. And something in you says, go. But something louder says, wait. What if she rejects you? What if she thinks you're weird? What if you walk over and it's awkward? So you don't move. Instead, you analyze. You adjust your jacket. Check your phone. Pretend you're very interested in the ceiling design. And then you watch another guy walk up to her. He smiles. He says something simple. She laughs. And your brain immediately goes. He was born confident. No. He wasn't. Here's your first shift. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's comfort with small rejection. That's it. But your brain has turned rejection into humiliation. That's the real problem. Let's slow this down. Picture this. You walk over. You say, hey, I saw you from over there and thought I'd come say hi. She smiles politely and says, I have a boyfriend. That's it. No lightning strike. No public announcement. No slow-motion soundtrack of shame. But in your mind? It feels like the whole room saw you fail. Here's what's really happening. You don't fear rejection. You fear being seen trying. That's deeper. And that's honest. You can read every book on body language. You can memorize clever openers. You can watch hours of alpha confidence videos. But if you still believe rejection equals humiliation, you'll freeze. Because your nervous system thinks you're walking into danger. Let's zoom out. You say you want confidence. But what you really want is confidence without discomfort. That doesn't exist. And here's your second shift. The men you think are naturally confident are just men who stopped making rejection mean something about them. That's it. They approach. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. And they go get tacos after. You, on the other hand? You replay it for 3 business days. You analyze tone. Facial expression. Wind speed. Astrological compatibility. It's adorable. But exhausting. Now let me show you something powerful. Imagine 2 men approach the same woman. Man A thinks, I hope she likes me. Man B thinks, I wonder if I'll like her. Feel the difference? Man A is auditioning. Man B is exploring. That tiny internal shift changes everything. Posture. Eye contact. Voice. Women feel when a man is trying to win approval. It creates pressure. And pressure is not attractive. Relaxed curiosity is. Here's something else you may not realize. When you hesitate too long, your brain reinforces a pattern. See woman feel fear, avoid temporary relief. That relief trains you. Avoidance becomes safety. That's why it gets harder over time. Not easier. And later? You blame yourself. Why didn't I just go for it? Because your brain thinks you avoided danger. Not opportunity. Now let's make this practical. I want you to stop trying to be confident. Instead, practice being decisive. Confidence is a byproduct of action. Not a prerequisite. Next time you see a woman you're drawn to, give yourself 5 seconds. 5. Not 5 minutes. 5 seconds before your brain builds a courtroom case against you. If you're still interested after 5 seconds, walk. You don't need a clever line. You don't need a performance. Say something simple and grounded. Hey, I didn't want to leave without saying hi. That's it. Not theatrical. Not rehearsed. Human. If she engages, great. If she doesn't, smile and say, Nice meeting you. Enjoy your night. And walk away calmly. Here's the magic. When you leave calmly, even after rejection, your nervous system learns something new. I survived. That repetition builds real confidence. Not fake alpha posture. Not forced dominance. Real internal steadiness. And here's your third shift. Rejection is not humiliation. Avoidance is. Avoidance slowly chips at your self-respect. That's why you feel worse after not approaching than after getting rejected. At least rejection means you showed up. And showing up builds identity. Now let's address something important. You think approaching is about impressing her. It's not. It's about expressing yourself. You're not trying to convince her to like you. You're giving her the opportunity to. That's leadership. Leadership is attractive. Not because it's loud. But because it's decisive. And here's something most men miss. When you approach calmly and respectfully, even if she's not interested, you still stand out. Because most men don't approach at all. They stare. They hover. They DM later. You're already ahead when you move. Now let's remove the fantasy. You will get rejected. Sometimes gently. Sometimes bluntly. That's normal. But here's what actually happens when you do this consistently for 30 days. Rejection loses drama. Your heart rate doesn't spike the same way. Your voice steadies. You stop over-preparing. And something surprising happens. You start enjoying the interaction itself. Not just the outcome. That's when women feel your ease. That's when attraction grows naturally. Not because you memorized a line. But because you stopped needing validation from the result. And ironically, that's when you get more positive responses. Because you're no longer radiating. Please don't reject me. You're radiating. I'm okay either way. That energy is magnetic. So here's your simple challenge. For the next 14 days, approach one woman a day. Not to get a number. Not to prove anything. Just to practice decisive action. Keep it simple. Keep it human. Track how you feel before and after. Watch what changes. And in the next video, I'm going to break down exactly what to say after the first 30 seconds, because that's where most men either overtalk or freeze. Subscribe if you're done waiting. Watch the next video if you're ready to move. Because the man who waits for perfect confidence stays invisible. And you were never meant to be invisible.